wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Good morning, Morgan.
Turned up with your girl.
Hey.
Turned up front page news.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay. Good morning, y'all. Happy Wednesday. How y'all feeling?
Good morning.
Good morning.
See, I got that Wednesday vibe. I'm here. Okay, so the Supreme Court, let's get into it, y'all. The Supreme Court, another big win for President Trump at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is siding with President Trump over firings of thousands of federal workers. The High Court ruled Tuesday that the Trump administration can proceed with the termination of 16,000 probationary employees. The workers were let go across 6 agencies and departments associated, of course, with the government. And the lower court had ruled that the workers would be instated as legal challenges proceeded, but the Supreme Court's ruling rescinds that order. So all those people who were probationary employees, terminated by all of those different agencies, yes, that will stand.
Why do we keep acting like that's not Donald Trump's court? Like, why do we keep acting? Why do people hold out hope and faith that the Supreme Court is going to do the right thing when Donald Trump he built that court damn near?
He did. He sure did.
Like, there's a 6-3 conservative majority, and he put 3 of those people on the court. They already gave him presidential immunity. I mean, like, what else? What makes us think that the Supreme Court is ever going to do the right thing?
So let me ask you, Morgan. So all those people, when they asked people to send an email back of the jobs that they were doing, and the people that said they weren't going to do it, and those are the people that's going to get let go?
If they are probationary, if they've been with the agency or whatever agency they were with, beyond the probationary period, then that's a different case. But those probationary employees, the ones who pretty much were within the first 90 days of their job, unfortunately, they will not be able to keep their jobs. Yeah.
So damn sad.
Yes, thousands of people will be impacted by that. In other political news, yesterday on Tuesday, President Trump gave a keynote address at the annual National Republican Congressional Committee, and he's standing on 10 when it comes to tariffs, okay? In fact, he said they're helping. Let's take a listen to President Trump.
Many countries have. They've ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn to do the ripping. That's okay. We're going to make our country even stronger than it ever was. And I really think we're helped a lot by the tariff situation that's going on, which is a good situation, not a bad. It's great. It's going to be legendary. You watch. Legendary in a positive way, I have to say.
He went on to say he thinks the war with the world is not one at all because the countries are coming to the U.S., adding that Japan is already on the way, not to mention the additional 50% tariffs on imported Chinese goods that went into effect at midnight, as in hours ago, imposing a 104% tariff now. And in case you missed it, China announced retaliatory tariffs against the U.S., with Trump promising to raise duties against the country if they didn't remove the tariffs. Now, Trump also added that that until China is ready to deal, that is what's going to be. He added that he felt what he calls legendary tariffs will help the GOP win midterms in a thundering landslide. Now, press secretary or White House
not if the economy keep going the way that it's going. It's always about the economy. So if he thinks that, he's bugging, unless he knows something that we don't know. If the economy keeps going the way it's going right now, no way, Jose. Not that I have any faith in the Democrats, but
No, but he claims, it's going to hurt a little bit and then things will ease up. But, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. Right. We all do, right? She touted the tariffs, saying the world is clearly responding to President Trump's approach. We just talked about China's reaction, but Leavitt also noted that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pledged to eliminate the U.S. trade deficit with Israel. So let's take a listen to White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
American economic surrender is over. President Trump is no longer going to allow American workers and companies to be ripped off at the hands of foolish trade practices that shipped away millions of high-paying jobs and hollowed out communities across the country.
So Leavitt also added that 70 other countries have reached out to begin trade negotiations. Of course, meanwhile, Wall Street has seen 3 straight down sessions due to volatility caused by the tariffs before seeing a slight gain yesterday. So we'll see what happens in the market today. Of course, all of this is because, he's like, hey, let's see who comes to the negotiating table. Let's see who starts to negotiate these trade deficits, and trades. China's like, nah, we're not rocking. Israel's like, okay, cool. We're going to eliminate your debt. So let's see. we'll see we'll continue to watch the situation.
All
At
right.
7, we're going to talk about immigration. It continues.
All right. Well, thank you, Morgan. Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get back in some front page news. What's up, Morgan?
Well, let's do it, okay? Let's talk immigration and the IRS. So the IRS is agreeing to help ICE find illegal immigrants by sharing information with the agency. Court documents show the IRS will provide the Department of Homeland Security with information for migrants who are either under federal investigation or are already facing deportation. Now, the IRS had warned the Trump administration's the plan to use it for, the IRS had warned the Trump administration the plan to use it for information could be illegal. So as a result, the acting IRS commissioner is resigning. Multiple reports say Melanie Krause is stepping down after the agency agreed to share illegal immigrants' tax information with federal immigration agents. Now, Krause is the third person to lead the agency since January. And remember, she herself was just acting, and Doug O'Donnell was acting commissioner as well until announcing his retirement last month. So it looks like the IRS agency is looking for a new head, while also, talking with ICE to find those illegal migrants and get information on illegal migrants.
So did I hear you right, Morgan? She stepped down because she was upset that the illegal immigrants had to share their tax information?
That is alleged, yes. Yes.
Man, please. Why should the illegal immigrants be exempt from sharing their tax information?
No, I don't think that's the thing. It's they already share their tax information because some of them are filing taxes here as long as they're working. But it's a matter. It's a matter of the ICE crackdown now that now that they've been now it's a matter of ICE using that information to locate and find them. Which, Shoot,
the IRS use that information to locate and find us.
Yeah, but I guess what they're saying is now if you're an immigrant, an illegal immigrant, you're not going to pay your taxes. Why would you pay your taxes and try to do the right thing if they just going to give the information to where you at?
Pretty much.
So you live in America?
Yeah, but if you pay your taxes, they're going to come get you.
I guess my whole thing is like, I guess if you're gonna go through all of that, you might as well just go through the process of trying to be a legal citizen.
A lot of them are trying, but a lot of them are trying. But
yes.
It takes time. It takes years. It could take years. And they also said yesterday that they're opening up an ICE office in Rikers Island in the jail. They're gonna open up an office right then and there.
Why?
I guess when people get arrested and they're not necessarily a citizen,
they can
take them right there.
Yeah, but not only that, there's because of that new Supreme Court ruling where, you can't ship the migrants. Well, basically, you can get rid of the migrants, but there has to be a due process, with that ruling.
I agree.
So maybe that's essentially what's happening with that Rikers space.
Maybe
is that they're going to have some due process before they get rid of them.
Can I ask the room a question? Would you be an ICE informant if the IRS gave you tax breaks? If the IRS said, hey, you don't got to pay taxes for a year, but you got to be an ICE informant?
Or you just like informant one, or they put your name there?
I don't know what you just got to be an informant. You got to point out, you got to tell people where you think there might be some illegal immigrant activity.
Gang members only?
I don't know what it is. I'm
just want to snitch.
But would you though?
I would.
That's crazy. All right. So meanwhile, White House border czar Tom Homan is highlighting the Trump administration's efforts to secure the southern border. On Tuesday, Tom Homan spoke to Arizona lawmakers before a special joint session at the state capitol in Phoenix. He said when the job is done, the border will be more secure than it's ever been. Let's take a listen to those comments from border czar Tom Homan.
We're going to get this job done with no apologies. When we're done, we're going to have the most secure border in the history of this nation. We're going to make this country safer. Every criminal alien we arrest, every gang member we arrest, every TDA MS-13 member we arrest get out of the country makes this country much safer. This administration right now in power is going to have, for the first time in history of this nation, have total operational control of our southern border. Under President Trump, it's going to happen. You can take that to the bank.
You take that to the bank and cash that check. Well, he went on to say more people have been arrested in the first 2 months of President Trump's second term compared to former President Biden's last year in office. He also added that he's happy but not satisfied, and there's more work to be done. The address also focused on current border challenges and cooperation between federal and state governments. Several state Democratic lawmakers walked out during that speech in protest.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something to be bragging about if you're deporting the wrong people. If you're deporting the right people, then that's something that, you can hang your hat on. But if you're deporting the wrong people, what does it matter? Because, you still might have some of those illegal immigrants that are actually criminals still here, but you too busy, locking up folks that don't actually need to be deported, and
Abrego Garcia. Sorry.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
And bringing things home to you guys in New York. So New York City is suing the Trump administration in an effort to keep an already approved $188 million in migrant shelter related funding that the feds took back. So the city got a letter from FEMA about a week ago saying it's going to end several grants intended for the shelter and services program intended for migrants. Well, New York City Mayor Adams, he don't like that. And he said he wants his money back. Let's take a listen to New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
That $200 million belongs to us. The previous administration gave us a price tag of handling a national crisis. We are going to fight and state that this $200 million belongs to us. We're going to fight for every penny. No matter what it is, this should not be carried on the backs of taxpayers. We are suing for that $200 million. We're raising our voice for that $200 million.
Yeah, so Adams went on to blame the Biden administration for much of the migrant crisis. The White House says that the action is part of the Department of Homeland Security's crackdown on illegal immigration under President Trump. So,
what if Trump says, Mayor Adams, how much do you think getting your charges dismissed costs?
Right. I was going to say, Adams came out here with his chest today. He said, they can't bring it back up. They can't bring the charges back up. Okay, yeah. Can we get our money back?
Trump said, you thought that was for free? Matter of fact, you owe a little bit more. Okay.
All right, speaking a little bit more, I got one more story for y'all. Meta, you guys, everybody uses Instagram, everybody uses Facebook, right? And kids use it as well. The kids and the teens are starting to ask for pages and stuff like that. So Meta is aiming to make Instagram safer for teens with new safeguards. So the tech company announced on Tuesday that teens under 16 years old will not be able to use the live feature without their parents' permission. Instagram will also require parental permission to turn off the feature that blurs suspected nudity in DMs. Meanwhile, Meta will offer teen accounts for Facebook and Messenger that provide similar protections. And the company said there are now 54 million teens around the world with Instagram teen accounts since launching last year. So look at Meta trying to make an effort to keep the kids safe. I absolutely love that.
Not mad at it at all. In no way, shape, or form.
I want to ask you guys, not to say it like this or put your kids out there, but your kids have Facebook or social media essentially, or not necessarily Facebook, but the kids have
my
social
kids
media.
don't have Facebook. They do have social media.
TikTok.
TikTok, but and they do have Instagram where they connect with their friends from dance, but I'm all over it, pause.
Yeah, no, that's essentially what I'm asking. How do you regulate and how do you, stay on top of them with that and make sure that things are safe?
Guy and myself are all over our kids' social media. We make sure, who's following them, they're private, they're able to see certain things. So we're all over it.
And I have Ashton's logins. He's only on TikTok and on Instagram, but I have his logins. I check his internet history, everything, because he's a boy and he's pushing into that teenage, space. So I'm all over him.
No, that's what it's all about. I think, sharing just what you guys are saying can help other parents, navigate that space, because there are some parents who don't even use it themselves, but then their kids may come and say, hey, can I have an Instagram page? But you don't know what you're getting yourself into. So to know that you guys are regulating your kids' pages and also, keeping an eye on things,
Most definitely. I knew I had to start going through his phone when he called me beloved. That's
amazing.
Shut my door, beloved. Excuse me?
Can you shut my door, beloved?
Beloved.
Did you shut it?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. I went in there, and don't call me beloved.
How you know he not watching a bunch of Ayan Levon's on?
No. I know that's not who he watching. But he laughed like it might be a trend. That's what made me go on his page to see if it's a trend. But it's not. He just was like, hey, can you close my door, beloved? And that was it. But
his dad says that,
when they start, Rome has never called me beloved.
He called me beloved before.
He never called.
I promise
he
you.
He called you beloved.
Yes. Rome has called me beloved. He's beloved.
I guess better.
Wow.
better than Baltimore dummy, right?
Yeah. Like, don't do that.
Oh, what about bro though? Because these kids use bro a lot too.
Hell yeah. He better stop calling me bro, because he started and I'm like, I'm not your brother. Don't do that. But
Rome say beloved. He say king. He say champ.
King, king and champ. I never heard that man say beloved. That is crazy. Okay, got it.
All right. Well, thank you, Morgan.
Thank y'all. That's your front page news. Follow me on social at Morgan Media, MorganMedia. And for more news coverage, follow at Black Information Network. Download the free iHeartRadio app and visit us at BINnews.com. Talk to y'all later.
All right, boo.
Peace.
Peace, Morgan.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.